The massive alien ship appeared over New York without warning on a quiet Sunday morning in 2157. Its smooth silver surface gleamed in the morning sun, stretching nearly 2 miles across the sky. The world held its breath, waiting to see if this would be humanity's end or its greatest beginning. It turned out to be neither. At least, not at first. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Council, a federation of advanced species that had watched Earth for centuries. Their message was simple. Humanity had finally reached a point where they deserved to join the galactic community. "We come in peace," their first transmission stated in perfect English. "We offer friendship and advancement to the people of Earth." The next few months passed in a blur of excitement and rapid change. The Council shared medical technology that cured several types of cancer. They helped improve Earth's power generation systems and showed humans how to clean up environmental pollution. Every gift seemed to prove their good intentions. Commander Jack Stone watched it all from his new position at the United Earth Embassy, recently built in the Council's massive space station. At 45 years old, with graying hair and sharp blue eyes, he had been chosen as Earth's military attaché to the Council. His job was to learn about their defense systems and share appropriate information about Earth's military capabilities. "The Council has been nothing but helpful," his assistant Robert told him one morning, 6 months after first contact. "Look at all they've done for us." Stone nodded, but something felt wrong. Maybe it was his 20 years of military experience, or maybe just instinct, but the Council's generosity seemed too perfect. They asked for nothing in return except for Earth to maintain its observer status in the Council and allow their ships to freely enter Earth's solar system. The first sign of trouble came when Dr. Anna Miller, Earth's leading geophysicist, reported unusual seismic patterns. "These readings don't make sense," she told Stone during a secure video call. "It's like something is disturbing Earth's core, but that's impossible with our current technology." Stone started investigating. He spent long hours in the Council's public archives, learning about their history. They presented themselves as peaceful explorers, but he found odd patterns. Several worlds that had once been mentioned in their records were now completely absent. Late one night, as he worked at his desk, an alien janitor approached him. The being looked nervous, its 4 eyes darting around to check if anyone was watching. "Human Stone," it whispered. "Seek truth in Section 7. Arc of Delta. The Council lies." Before Stone could ask more, the janitor hurried away. It took Stone 3 days to find a way into the restricted archives. What he discovered there made his blood run cold. The Council wasn't peaceful at all. They were systematic exploiters of developing worlds. Their pattern was always the same. Find a planet rich in rare minerals, especially those needed for faster-than-light travel. Make contact. Pretend to be friendly. Then secretly mine the planet's core until it became unstable and uninhabitable. They had done it 17 times before. Stone downloaded as much evidence as he could. The Council's ships weren't doing scientific surveys of Earth's solar system. They were mining operations. Their advanced technology allowed them to extract minerals from Earth's core without immediate detection. But the process was destabilizing the planet's tectonic plates. He rushed the data to Dr. Miller. Her analysis confirmed his worst fears. At the current rate, she reported, Earth will become critically unstable in less than 5 years. The earthquakes have already started increasing. Volcanic activity is up 40% worldwide. "They're killing our planet, Jack." Stone stared out his office window at the massive council chamber, where alien representatives from 100 worlds discussed politics and trade. Earth's seat was in the far back, a symbolic position for a new observer world. The Council had played their role perfectly, acting as wise mentors while they slowly murdered humanity's home. "Send this data through secure channels to Earth Command," he ordered. "And Anna, don't trust anyone in the Council, not a single one." In his mind, Stone was already planning. The Council thought humans were primitive, barely able to understand their basic technology. They saw Earth as just another victim, already condemned to death. They were about to learn how dangerous a cornered species could be. They would soon discover that humanity didn't die quietly. Commander Stone couldn't sleep. The weight of his discovery pressed down on him like a heavy blanket. Each time he closed his eyes, he saw images of Earth breaking apart, just like the other worlds the Council had destroyed. He spent his days pretending everything was normal. It wasn't easy. Every friendly nod from a council member, every polite greeting now felt like a knife in his back. But he had learned long ago that the best way to gather intelligence was to let your enemy think they had fooled you. The restricted archives became his second home. Each night, after most of the station's inhabitants had retired, Stone would slip into Section 7, Archive Delta. The janitor who had helped him, he learned, had disappeared, transferred to a distant outpost. Stone knew better. People who exposed Council secrets tended to vanish. "I found something worse," he told Dr. Miller during their encrypted midnight call. "We're not their first target this decade." He shared his screen with her, showing images of a planet called Nexus II. The world had been beautiful once, covered in purple forests and crystal seas. Now it was a dead rock. Its core collapsed, its surface cracked like a broken egg. "They did this just 3 years ago," Stone explained. "The inhabitants were relocated to sanctuary worlds. But I checked those worlds, Anna. They don't exist." Dr. Miller's face went pale on the screen. "They're not just killing planets," she whispered. "They're committing genocide." Stone nodded grimly. "And they're getting better at it. Each time, they improve their mining technology. They're doing it faster, hiding it better. Earth isn't just another target. We're their most efficient operation yet." He had found records of their previous victims. Some species had discovered the truth too late. Others had tried to fight back, only to be crushed by the Council's superior technology. A few had attempted to warn other worlds, but the Council's influence was too great. No one believed the accusations of primitive species. But humanity had one advantage. They had discovered the truth early enough to act. Dr. Miller's team worked around the clock, studying the Council's mining operations. "They're using some kind of quantum drilling technology," she reported. "It lets them extract minerals without physical contact. That's why we couldn't detect it at first." Stone found an unlikely ally in his search, a young Council data clerk named Blue Sky. She belonged to a species that had once been victims themselves, forced to join the Council or face extinction. Now, generations later, most of her people had forgotten their history, but Blue Sky remembered her grandmother's stories. "The Council erases more than worlds," she told Stone during a secret meeting in the station's garden dome. "They erase history. They erase truth. Each species they destroy becomes nothing more than a footnote in their archives, eventually forgotten." Together, they dug deeper into the Council's secrets. Blue Sky's access codes opened doors Stone couldn't reach alone. What they found shocked even his hardened military mind. The Council's true governing body, the Inner Circle, saw developing worlds as nothing more than resource deposits. They had reduced genocide to a science, calculating the exact time to reveal their true intentions. Usually, it was when the victim world had grown too dependent on Council technology to effectively resist. "We have to stop them," Blue Sky said, her silver eyes filled with determination. "Not just for Earth, but for every world they've destroyed, every species they've erased." Stone agreed, but he knew they needed more than just evidence. They needed a plan. Using Dr. Miller's geological data and Blue Sky's inside information, Stone calculated they had exactly 4 years, 2 months, and 17 days before Earth would reach the point of no return. The Council would maintain their friendly facade for another 3 years, then suddenly discover that Earth's core was naturally destabilizing. They would offer to evacuate a small portion of humanity to their sanctuary worlds, while secretly condemning billions to death. But Stone had other plans. Humanity had always been good at turning others' weapons against them. And now, with access to Council technology and data, they had everything they needed to do just that. "Send everything to Earth Command," he ordered Dr. Miller, "and tell them to get ready. It's time to show the Council why humans are the most dangerous species they've ever tried to destroy." In his quarters that night, Stone looked at a photo of Earth taken from the station. Soon, the Council would learn that they had made a fatal mistake. They had given humanity just enough rope to hang them with. And humanity was very, very good at learning from their enemies. Earth's response to Stone's discovery was swift but silent. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility unknown even to most world governments, Project Phoenix began. Admiral Tom Marshall stood in the command center, his weathered face illuminated by dozens of screens. At 60 years old, he had been pulled from retirement for this one final mission, preparing Earth's revenge. "Show me the progress on the fleet," he ordered. The main screen lit up with images from hidden shipyards in the Arctic, the Sahara Desert, and the Australian outback. Massive ships took shape in underground facilities, built with a mixture of human innovation and stolen Council technology. "The Council thinks we're still playing with their basic toys," Dr. Miller reported, standing beside the Admiral. "They gave us simple space flight technology, thinking we couldn't understand their advanced systems, but they didn't count on human determination." She was right. When humans wanted something badly enough, they could achieve the impossible. Teams of scientists worked day and night, reverse engineering every piece of Council technology they could access. Commander Stone and Blue Sky kept feeding them data from the station, and Earth's brightest minds turned that knowledge into weapons. "The quantum shielding is ready," one scientist announced. "We've improved it beyond the Council's version. They'll never expect it." Admiral Marshall nodded. "And the AI systems. This was humanity's secret weapon. The Council had given Earth basic artificial intelligence technology, thinking humans would take decades to fully understand it. Instead, Earth's quantum computing teams had taken the AI and evolved it into something new. A hybrid system that combined human intuition with machine precision. "The battle AIs are combat ready," Dr. Miller said. "We've run thousands of simulations. They can predict and counter Council battle tactics faster than any organic commander." In orbital shipyards, disguised as civilian research stations, Earth's first battle fleet grew larger each day. The ships looked simple on the outside, exactly what the Council would expect from a primitive species. But inside, they housed technology that would shock their enemies. "How are we hiding all this from their sensors?" Admiral Marshall asked. Dr. Miller smiled. "We turned their own stealth technology against them. Remember those privacy shields they gave us for our data centers? We modified them. As far as the Council knows, we're just building basic space stations for research." The Admiral walked to a large window overlooking the underground hangar. Below, thousands of workers assembled what looked like normal spaceships. But these vessels had surprises hidden in every panel, every system. "Time report," he called out. 3 years, 8 months until critical core instability." An officer responded. "Council mining operations continue at the same rate. They suspect nothing." Marshall touched the window, his reflection grim but determined. "And our fleet. First wave will be ready in 8 months. Full battle fleet in 18 months. Everything was moving faster than planned, driven by humanity's greatest strength, their ability to work together when faced with extinction. Countries that had once been enemies now shared resources and technology. The world's best scientists collaborated across borders. Every human who knew the truth understood what was at stake. In his private office later that night, Admiral Marshall reviewed the latest updates from Commander Stone. The Council was planning a friendship celebration next year, marking 2 years of Earth's membership. They would attend that celebration, smile, and pretend they were grateful for the Council's guidance. And all the while, beneath the surface of their primitive world, humanity's vengeance took shape. "Message from Dr. Miller," his computer announced. The message was simple. Core stabilization technology, successful in first test. We can save our planet. Marshall leaned back in his chair, allowing himself a small smile. The Council thought they had given Earth a death sentence. Instead, they had given humanity the tools of their own destruction. Send to all Project Phoenix commands, he ordered. Message begins. Proceed to Phase 2. The future of Earth depends on your silence, your dedication, and your courage. When the time comes, remember, we're not just fighting for revenge. We're fighting to ensure no other world suffers our fate. In space, Council ships continued their mining operations, unaware that their every move was being watched, analyzed, and countered. They didn't know that their simple human observers were preparing a surprise that would shake the foundations of their power. They had no idea that their next friendship celebration would be their last. The Council's annual friendship celebration was in full swing aboard their massive space station. Alien delegates from 100 worlds mingled in the Grand Hall, congratulating themselves on another successful year of guiding primitive species toward advancement. Commander Stone stood at his usual spot near the back of the hall, sipping what appeared to be champagne, but was actually water. His wristwatch showed Earth time. 23:57. 3 minutes until humanity's revenge began. Such a wonderful celebration, a council member said to him, all 4 eyes blinking in what passed for a friendly gesture. Earth has progressed so well under our guidance. Stone smiled politely. Yes, we're very grateful. He checked his watch again. 23:58. Across the room, Blue Sky caught his eye and gave a slight nod. She had made sure the station's internal sensors would be undergoing routine maintenance at exactly midnight. A toast. The Council's high speaker called out from the center of the hall. To another year of peaceful cooperation. 23:59. Stone touched his hidden earpiece. Admiral Marshall, are we ready? The response was immediate. All ships in position. AI systems online. Waiting for your signal. 00:00. Stone pressed a small button on his watch. Across the solar system, humanity's trap snapped shut. The first sign that something was wrong came when all the Council's mining ships suddenly lost power. Their quantum drills, slowly killing Earth's core, went silent. Before any alarms could sound, Earth's hidden fleet dropped their stealth fields. What's happening? A council member shouted as the station's lights flickered. Stone didn't answer. He was already moving, heading for the command center. Behind him, he heard the high speaker trying to calm the crowd, assuring them it was just a technical problem. Then the main screen in the celebration hall lit up, showing Admiral Marshall's face. Attention, Galactic Council. The Admiral's voice boomed through every speaker on the station. This is Earth Command. Your mining operations have been terminated. Chaos erupted in the hall. Council members rushed to communication panels, only to find them locked by Earth's AI systems. The same AI systems now controlled every piece of technology the Council had given to humanity. Impossible, the high speaker shouted. They're primitives. They can't understand our technology. Stone reached the command center, where Blue Sky had already secured the main controls. On the screens, they watched Earth's fleet moving into attack formation. The ships looked different now, their outer hulls shifting to reveal advanced weapons the Council had never seen before. All Council mining ships have been disabled, Blue Sky reported, her fingers flying over the controls. No casualties. They didn't even have time to send distress signals. The first wave of Earth's attack was perfectly coordinated. The Council's mining fleet, over 300 ships, was captured intact. Their crews, expecting no resistance from primitive humans, surrendered without a fight. Phase 1 complete. Admiral Marshall's voice came through Stone's earpiece. Moving to Phase 2. On the main screen, more Earth ships appeared, dropping their stealth fields. These weren't small vessels the Council had sanctioned. They were full battle cruisers, built in secret, armed with weapons that combined Council technology with human innovation. How? A council member who had rushed into the command center stared at the screens in shock. How did you build these without us knowing? Stone finally allowed himself to show the anger he'd hidden for so long. You thought we were primitive. You thought we'd take decades to understand your basic technology. That was your mistake. The council member stepped back, seeing the cold fury in Stone's eyes. You gave us the tools to save ourselves, Stone continued. Every piece of technology, every bit of data you shared, we studied it all. We improved it. And now we're going to use it to make sure you never destroy another world. Outside the station, Earth's fleet moved into its final attack pattern. The Council's arrogance had been their downfall. They had never bothered to hide their weaknesses from a species they considered too primitive to exploit them. Now, as Stone watched humanity's ships surround the station, he knew the real battle was about to begin. The Council would soon call in their main battle fleet, thinking their superior numbers would quickly crush Earth's resistance. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. 3 days after Earth's first strike, the Council's main battle fleet arrived. 5,000 warships thundered out of faster-than-light travel, their weapons primed. They filled the space around Earth's orbit, a massive show of force meant to crush the human rebellion instantly. Admiral Marshall stood on the bridge of Earth's flagship, the Phoenix, watching the enemy fleet's arrival. He didn't look worried. If anything, there was a slight smile on his face. They'd brought exactly as many ships as we predicted, he said to Dr. Miller, who stood beside him monitoring Earth's defense systems. The Council really is predictable. The Council's High Admiral's face appeared on the main screen, his expression full of contempt. Surrender immediately, he demanded. Your primitive fleet cannot hope to stand against our full military might. Marshall's smile grew wider. We were hoping you'd bring your whole fleet. It saves us the trouble of hunting them down later. Before the Council Admiral could respond, Marshall gave the order, activate the quantum net. Dr. Miller pressed a series of commands on her console. Across Earth's orbit, hundreds of small satellites that the Council had dismissed as primitive communication devices suddenly activated. They created a massive energy web, trapping the Council fleet in place. What is this? The Council Admiral demanded, his arrogance turning to confusion. Your own technology, improved, Marshall replied. You gave us quantum communication. We turned it into a weapon. The Council fleet tried to retreat, but their engines couldn't break through the energy net. They fired their weapons, but Earth's ships had shields unlike anything they'd seen before. The humans had taken the Council's basic shield technology and evolved it into something new. Launch Phase 2, Marshall ordered. From Earth's surface, thousands of missiles streaked into space. The Council Admiral laughed when he saw them, thinking they were simple nuclear weapons. His laughter died when the missiles split apart mid-flight, each one becoming 10 smaller missiles, then 100, then 1,000. Quantum-linked warheads, Dr. Miller explained to the stunned Council Admiral. Each one shares targeting data with all the others. You can't shoot them all down. The Council fleet tried anyway. Their point defense systems were impressive, destroying hundreds of missiles. But for each missile they destroyed, 10 more adjusted their course to fill the gap. It was like trying to stop a flood with a handful of sand. The first hits struck the outer edges of the Council fleet. Ships that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries disappeared in balls of light. The Council Admiral's face showed real fear now. How? He whispered. You're supposed to be primitive, barely able to understand space travel. Marshall's voice was cold. You made 3 mistakes. First, you threatened our world. Second, you gave us access to your technology. Third, and most importantly, you underestimated humanity's ability to innovate when fighting for survival. The battle that followed was short but devastating. Council ships that tried to fight were disabled by Earth's improved weapons. Those that surrendered were quickly captured. The quantum net prevented any from escaping to warn the rest of the Council. On the Phoenix's bridge, Dr. Miller monitored the battle damage. Our casualties are minimal, she reported. The AI battle systems are predicting their moves before they make them. And Earth's core? Marshall asked. Stabilization systems are working perfectly. The damage they caused is already beginning to reverse. The Council Admiral watched in horror as his fleet was systematically taken apart by the very species he had considered primitive just hours ago. His own flagship was now surrounded by Earth vessels. In case you're wondering, Marshall told him, we've already secured the Council's mining fleets around 17 other worlds. Your empire of exploitation ends today. As the last Council ships surrendered, Marshall sent a message to all Earth forces. Phase 5 complete. Begin Operation Liberation. The Council had arrived expecting to crush a primitive rebellion. Instead, they had witnessed the beginning of their own downfall. And humanity was just getting started. 1 month after Earth's victory over the Council fleet, Commander Stone walked through the halls of the Council space station. But everything was different now. The once proud Council members who used to ignore him now pressed themselves against the walls as he passed, their eyes downcast. The Grand Council chamber had been transformed into a court. Representatives from 17 worlds, all victims of the Council's mining operations, sat in judgment of their former oppressors. Stone took his place at the main podium, ready to present Earth's evidence. We are here today, he began, his voice carrying across the silent chamber, not for revenge, but for justice. The chamber's main screen activated, showing images of dead worlds, destroyed civilizations, and the Council's secret mining operations. Blue Sky stood beside Stone, confirming each piece of evidence from the Council's own records. For over 1,000 years, Stone continued, the Council presented itself as a guiding force for developing civilizations. In reality, they were predators, destroying worlds for profit. The Council's former High Speaker, now a prisoner, tried to defend their actions. We brought advancement to primitive species. We gave them technology. You gave them death. Stone replied calmly. You gave them false hope while you murdered their worlds. But humanity stopped you. And now we're going to help your victims rebuild. Dr. Miller stepped forward, displaying her core stabilization technology. We can reverse the damage, she announced. Earth has already begun healing. We can do the same for other affected worlds. The news spread quickly across the galaxy. Worlds that had lived in fear of the Council's power now reached out to Earth for help. Smaller Council species, those who hadn't known about the mining operations, began breaking away from the Council's control. Admiral Marshall, watching from the Phoenix, received constant updates about Council military units surrendering across the galaxy. Without their central command, without their secrets to protect them, the Council's power structure crumbled. Message from the Nexus system. A communication officer reported. Their surviving colonies want to join Earth's alliance. More messages followed. Species that the Council had thought long dead emerged from hidden colonies, asking for Earth's protection. Others offered their technology, their resources, their support in building something new. Stone stood in his office later that day, looking at a hologram of the galaxy. Sectors that had once been under Council control were now turning to Earth for leadership. Not because Earth had the strongest weapons or the most advanced technology, but because humanity had done what no other species had managed. They had broken the Council's power and offered hope instead of destruction. The mining fleet captains are ready to confess, Blue Sky reported, entering his office. They want to tell everything about the Council's operations. Stone nodded. Make sure every word is recorded. The galaxy needs to know the full truth. The evidence painted a damning picture. The Council's inner circle had grown wealthy from destroying worlds, taking the rarest minerals for themselves, while leaving countless species homeless or extinct. But they had never faced a species like humanity. A species that could take their own weapons and turn them into something more powerful. Report from Earth, Blue Sky said, reading from her tablet. The first delegation of rescued species has arrived. Dr. Miller is already working with their scientists on restoring their homeworlds. Stone smiled. This was humanity's true victory, not just defeating the Council, but helping its victims rebuild. Earth scientists were sharing their improvements on Council technology, teaching other species how to defend themselves, how to restore their damaged planets. "We should have killed you all," the former High Speaker had said during his trial. "You weren't primitive. You were dangerous." "No," Stone had replied. "We were just smarter than you expected. And we believe in justice, not genocide." As he looked out at the stars, Stone thought about how the Council's greatest mistake hadn't been attacking Earth. It had been assuming that humanity would behave as they did, taking revenge through destruction. Instead, humanity had chosen to build something new from the ashes of the Council's power. The galaxy was changing, and this time, it would change for the better. Earth was making sure of that. 1 year after the Council's fall, Earth's orbital space buzzed with ships from across the galaxy. Representatives from over 200 worlds had gathered for a historic moment: the formation of the Galactic Federation. Commander Stone stood at the window of his new office in the Federation Tower, which had once been the Council's headquarters. Below him, the station had been transformed. Where there had once been signs of the Council's power, there were now symbols of unity and cooperation. "Are you ready?" Dr. Miller asked, entering his office. She had changed too. No longer just a scientist, she now led the Federation's planetary restoration program. "Almost can't believe we made it here," Stone replied, adjusting his new Federation uniform. "Remember when we first discovered their mining operation?" Miller smiled. "Seems like a lifetime ago. Now look at us." They walked together to the Great Hall, where Admiral Marshall was preparing to open the ceremony. The hall was packed with beings from across the galaxy. Former Council species, now free of their oppressors, rescued civilizations rebuilding their worlds, and new allies who had joined Earth's cause. The final status report on Council space, Blue Sky whispered to Stone as they took their seats. She now served as the Federation's Chief of Intelligence. "The last holdout systems surrendered this morning. It's really over." Admiral Marshall stepped up to the podium, his voice carrying across the silent hall. 1 year ago, humanity discovered a terrible truth. We learned that the galaxy we thought was governed by wisdom was actually controlled by greed and cruelty. We could have responded with pure revenge. Instead, we chose justice. The main screen showed images from the past year: Earth ships helping to evacuate damaged worlds, Dr. Miller's teams reversing core damage on dying planets, former Council victims returning to rebuild their homes. "Today," Marshall continued, "we establish something new. The Galactic Federation will not rule through fear or deception. Every member world will have an equal voice. Every species will have the right to develop at their own pace, free from exploitation." Stone watched as, one by one, representatives from different worlds stepped forward to sign the Federation Charter. Each signature represented a vote of trust in humanity's leadership, not because Earth had defeated the Council, but because of what they had done afterward. The Council's former mining fleet, Dr. Miller reported during her speech, has been completely converted. Those ships now carry restoration equipment to heal the worlds they once destroyed. Every planet the Council damaged will be restored. The ceremony reached its peak when the first group of newly discovered civilizations was welcomed into the Federation. These were species that had been hidden away, protected by Earth during the final battles with the Council. Now they emerged into a galaxy where they no longer needed to fear discovery. "And what of the Council leaders?" someone asked during the open session. Stone took the podium to answer. "They face justice for their crimes, but not revenge. We're better than they were. They will help restore the worlds they damage, and then they will live with the knowledge of their failures." As the ceremony concluded, Stone, Miller, and Marshall stood together on the observation deck, watching ships from all across the galaxy departing with new hope. "Hard to believe it all started with one discovery," Miller said, looking at Earth floating peacefully below them. "One moment when we caught them in their lies." "No," Marshall corrected her. "It started because they underestimated humanity. They thought we were primitive because we were young. They never understood that being young made us stronger. We hadn't learned to stop dreaming, to stop trying to be better. Stone smiled as a group of children from different species ran past them, playing together in the station's artificial gravity. This was humanity's real victory, not the defeat of the Council, but the creation of something better. They called us primitive, he said, watching the children play. But we showed the galaxy something they had forgotten. True civilization isn't about power or technology. It's about justice, cooperation, and hope. As the last light of Earth's sun painted the station in golden hues, Stone thought about how far they had come. The Council had tried to destroy humanity. Instead, they had given humanity the chance to save not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. And that was the greatest revenge of all. The end.